First performance I saw with my mother was downtown Los Angeles. I think it was called Philharmonic Hall. And first ballet was Gaieté Parisienne. And I thought, this is ridiculous, all those people jumping around acting like children. The next one was the second act of Swan Lake, and I thought, they're in love, but what is that strange thing she's wearing?
Let's start from the beginning, Allegra. What was your upbringing like?
I was born in Santa Monica, which is Lower California. That was during the war years. I was born 1937, and my mother was very restless, and that's why she moved west from Texas to California. My mother and my father really didn't stay together very long, or they met occasionally. So after I was born, my mother decided to move to Miami Beach, Florida. And at a certain point after the war, my mother was getting restless again. And my mother decided to send us, my brother and me, to a progressive boarding school where you called the teachers by their first name. I felt like crying when my parents left me there, but I knew that wouldn't, to no avail, so I didn't. At the end of the school year, we came to Los Angeles for the summer, where my mother was situated. And she asked my brother and me if we wanted to go back, and I said yes. My brother said yes, maybe not that enthusiastically, but after I got back, I thought, I don't want to be here. But there was one aspect of the school I liked, and they had 3 records in the main hall. The Grand Canyon Suite by, I think it was Grofé, and then the Notre Dame Fighting song, which was a college song, 20 Weeds Went Through the Weeds, chasing one Norwegian, and one other record. I was dancing in the back to the Grand Canyon Suite. I suddenly decided I wanted to get out of school and I wanted to be a ballerina. But I had never seen a ballet. But I knew it was a kind of dancing. Of course, I heard about it through the movies, but I didn't exactly know what it looked like, but it was dancing, had that great name. Mother decided to take me out of boarding school, not send me back. We went to Capizio's and ordered a pair of ballet slippers. And there were very few ballet studios in Los Angeles. There's no tradition of ballet in those years. I'd say that was about 1948. But we knew that Nijinsky was teaching ballet, mainly to veterans of World War II. And these men could have gone to Paris and pursued writing or all kinds, but they wanted to pursue ballet, which you really can't start if you're 22, 25, 30, those years. But we went there by bus, and my mother said, I'd like to enroll this child in a ballet class, beginners, and they said, we don't have beginners, we have intermediate and advanced. So my mother said, well, let's start in the intermediate. And so I did. In the advance, Vera Ellen was taking, I think her name was Belita, a very fine ice skater, because in those days, mainly it was a Sonia Henney type, which looked splashy, but it had no technique. But there I was, not in the advanced, in the intermediate, with a lot of GIs who were very much older. I got to the bar, I walked over the bar, and the first step was pliés, as we know, the bending of the knees, and I thought, oh, I can do this. And then I was lost, all the steps and everything. But the end of the class was big jumps, which I had a great jump, so that I could do. Step, step, big jump, step, step. And I took out quite a few books, and they were mainly telling about the Paris days of Lachine, Massine, all those people of that era. Nothing on Balanchine. I'd never heard of the name Balanchine. But I did take a book out by Lincoln, which was called The ABCs of Ballet. I thought, oh, now I can figure out from the pictures what those steps are. It was essays, not about positions passé and through the alphabet of arabesque would be first, and alphabetically speaking. But that didn't help me, but I just watched, and evidently I was a pretty good watcher, and being able to apply it to my body. And I was going to school, and my mother was driving me to, it wasn't Bronislava, it was Irina, the daughter. And now, looking back, I feel so sorry for those GIs that were hoping to pursue a career, and they'd chosen ballet.
You wrote in your book that you thought that you got to ballet too late in some ways. When you got to the School of American Ballet, you had said you felt that you were kind of learning in reverse.
I was studying with Irina, and then Irina and Bronislava were being subsidized by the government. After they weren't subsidized anymore, the classes were held in a carpenters' union, which was rather large, and not really technical sort of things, but we're going to go from this end of the room to the other end of the room, doing a step or two, and we will outdistance the boys. And we did. She took my hand. Another mother said that I should be studying also with Carmelita Marachi, who is a great dancer. But Carmelita, it was very, very exact, because she demonstrated the first time I met her on Highlands Avenue. She was wearing children's jumpers, point shoes, which most teachers didn't wear when they were teaching. Oh, I guess I'd been studying about 3 years in Los Angeles. And the summer before that, my sister, Wendy, came to Los Angeles, and her real name, her first name, I don't say real, and my sister's name was Barbara Levitt, and she was an actress, so she decided to change it, and she had a list of names in her suitcase, and when the list came out, and she had Francesca, Candace, Allegra, and I looked at the list, and I thought, oh, I think I'll take that one, Allegra. So actually, it's not a stage name. I took it before I was on the stage. I was 10 years old. And then my sister wanted everyone to come to New York City. My brother didn't want to. And my mother put him in a boarding school for Christian Scientists. Interesting. And I came to New York. I'd never really heard of Balanchine. But Carmelita said, oh, you must go to the School of American Ballet because my dear friend, Muriel Stewart, is teaching there. So I went my mother took me to the School of American Ballet and said, we would like a scholarship, which is, she should have said, my daughter wants a scholarship. And the ladies at the desk, they're always at the desk, ladies, said, well, Balanchine has to look at your daughter to give one. And 2 weeks later, we had to pay for 2 weeks. Oh, whoa. And we actually didn't have a lot of money, so. And after 2 weeks, this man walked into the class from the door to the front, and the girls were all trembling. Oh. And I thought, that must be Balanchine. And he said, she can have a scholarship, total scholarship. Well, that was good.